guys, welcome to our new exercise video. So for today, the only equipment that we're going to use is ourselves and a chair, and that's all we'll need. And so for now, we're going to begin with our warm-up, and our first warm-up is going to be just a march in place. We're going to do that for 20 seconds, so get your timers out. Set it to 20 seconds. And then we begin. So we're just marching in place. Make sure to use your arms as well as your legs. And this is just to get our blood flowing and our joints lubricated. 20 seconds. We could rest 20-30 seconds, and then we're going to begin with our second warm-up. So 5. So for our second warm-up, we're just going to do some neck stretches. So we're going to go to the side, back to the middle, to the other side, back to the middle, up, back to the center, and down, back to the center. So we're going to go to the right side 5 times, to the left side 5 times, up 5 times, and down 5 times. And remember, always recenter before we go to the other side or up or down. So we'll begin going to my right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And go left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Going up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Going down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Rotate a little bit. That's our neck stretches. Now we're going to rest 20 seconds and get into our next warm-up. So for our next warm-up, we're going to do shoulder rolls. So I'm just going to lift up, rotate forward, lift up, rotate back. And we're going to go front and back 10 times each. So all we're doing is shrugging, rolling, just to get the shoulder girdle nice and lubricated. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. That's our shoulder rolls. And we're going to rest another 30 seconds and then begin with our dynamic and specific warm-up. So for our first specific warm-up, we're going to begin in our chair. We're going to sit. We're going to have our leg extended. And we're just going to do some ankle circles. And we're just going to do that for 20 seconds each leg. So all you want to do is hold your ankle high, roll it inward, and then roll it outward. So here you go, 20 seconds. And 20 seconds. Now our other leg. And we begin. That's 20 seconds. So if you need to, you could rest another 20-30 seconds before going again. We're going to do 3 sets of this. But for now, I'm just going to proceed with our next set and go back to our original starting ankle. And all we're doing is just rolling it again. So what we're doing is just getting our ankles nice and loose, ready for exercise. Make sure they're not stiff. Next leg. Here we go with our last and final set. And our last one. The first dynamic warm-up. Now we're going to rest about 30 seconds to 60 seconds and then begin with our second one. For our next specific warm-up, we're going to do knee circles. So we're going to have a slight bend in our knee. Keep our feet as close together as possible. You can have your hands on your knees if you need to. Now what we're going to do is just rotate our knees around in a circle. We could go one way, stop, center, and then go the other way. Probably 10 seconds one way, 10 seconds the other way. We're going to go a full 20 seconds, and we're going to do this for 3 sets. So let's begin. Get our knees nice and loose, lubricated, blood flowing. We can stop and go the next direction. It's 20 seconds. We can rest for 20 seconds. And remember, if you need to, you could use the chair to keep yourself balanced and then just rotate those knees. So we're resting about 20 seconds, then we're going to go again and do our second set. There you go, another 20 seconds. Rotate the other way. So the reason why we're doing these kinds of warm-ups is we're focusing on joint warm-ups and lubrication, and we're doing that because in a lot of strength and power movements, our joints tend to take a little bit of a pounding. Of course, all the exercises we're doing are low impact, but there's still some sort of impact in it, and there needs to be flexibility in these movements. So that's the only reason why we need our joints lubricated and tons of blood flowing in and out of those joints, just so they're not stiff and they're ready to bend and flex and hinge and do all the movements in which our exercises are going to ask of them. So now we're going to do our last set of these knee rotations before we get into our final warm-up. So we go 20 seconds. Other way. That's 20. Now we rest. Deep breath. And for our final warm-up, we're still going to be using the chair. And all we're going to do is seated high knees. So we're going to take away the impact of our basic high knee. And we're just focusing on bringing our, lifting our hips, at its creasing point, and then bringing our knees high. So all we're going to do is sitting up straight in the chair, and we'll just lift one knee at a time. And we're going to go for 20 seconds. Here we go. It's 20 seconds. We can rest for 20 seconds, and then we're back at it for set number 2. So what we're doing here is we're loosening our hips, getting them moving, get that joint moving up and down, because we are going to do movements with the hips, and so they need to be open and they need to be flexible, and that's what we're working on with these seated high knees. So here we go again for another 20 seconds, set number 2. Rest before our final set. We should be feeling warm and ready to begin our exercises. Here we go with our last and final set. Seated high knees. Just 20 seconds. Now we could rest 90 seconds before we begin our strength and power movements. Okay, for our first strength and power movement, we're going to be doing a seated leg extension. We're going to be using our chair. So what we're going to do is be seated in our chair, sitting up straight, the feet flat on the ground, and we're going to go one leg at a time. So all we're going to do is just flex at the knee and contract our quadricep at the top, hold for about a count, and then we get back to the bottom, our foot flat on the ground, and then we extend again. We're going to do that for 3 sets, 10 reps each leg. So here we go for set number 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, Other leg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's set number 1. We're going to rest for 90 seconds. And remember, the only thing that you want moving is the knee joint. And all you're doing is flexing, contracting at the top, resting at the bottom, and then pulling and flexing and contracting at the top again. And we want that slight squeeze when we're holding our leg at the extension point, just so we're flexing our quad and we're getting that tightness and contraction in the muscle to help blood flow into that part in which we're working, which is the quadriceps. So now we're resting for 90 seconds before we begin set number 2 of the seated leg extensions. Alright, now we're going to begin set number 2 of our seated leg extensions. Here we go. Remember, it's 10 each leg. Always keep the leg that's not working foot flat on the ground so you're stationary. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Next leg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's set number 2. We're going to rest for another 90 seconds before we go to complete our final set. And remember, if you are working outside, it's okay to find some shade. We know it's hot out here, it's summertime, and we don't want you guys getting tired out by the sun. Here we go for our final set of these seated leg extensions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That completes our first exercise of the seated leg extensions. We're going to rest 90 seconds and then we're going to move into our next exercise. So remember to rest, drink some water, wipe off the sweat, and then we'll be ready to go again. For our next exercise, we're going to be performing good mornings, which is a glute, hamstring, and lower back exercise. So all we're going to do is have our feet flat on the ground, have our chair in front of us for support. We're going to have our hands behind our head. Now what we're going to do is bend at the hip slightly. Remember, we're going to keep our back straight. You could keep your head up. You could focus on something in front of you. And we're just getting a slight bend in the hip, keeping our back straight, and then we're back at top, standing tall. We're going to perform 3 sets of 10 of that. We have our chair here for support if you feel like you need it or if you're losing balance. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's our first set. We're gonna rest 90 seconds and we'll go for set number 2. Here we go, set number 2 of our good mornings. Remember, feet flat. We're standing tall, hands on our head, bending at the hip. We're keeping our legs fairly straight, pulling on our hamstrings and glutes, keeping our back straight, flexing our lower back, our lumbar region, and then we're squeezing glutes at the top, standing tall. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Set number 2, we're going to rest 90 seconds, and then we're going to complete our final set of these good mornings. Here we go for our final set of these good mornings. Remember, keep your feet square, not staggered. You want everything underneath you, strong base. Have about shoulder width apart. You don't want to be stood too wide. Hands up, standing tall, bending at the hip, back straight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's our good mornings. Now we're going to rest 90 seconds and then we're moving on into our next exercise. So for our next exercise, we're going to be performing calf raises. So we have our chair here to keep ourselves balanced. You can have one hand or both hands on the chair. Now we're doing feet flat on the ground. We can have a little inside of shoulder width. And all we're going to do is just stand on our toes, flexing our calf, and then slowly down, back flat on the ground. And then we're coming up on our toes again. We're going to do 3 sets of 10. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Actually, we're going up and we're doing 12 because it's not a movement that takes a lot of energy. So we go for 2 more. 1, 2. That's 12. We're going to do another 12 after our 90 seconds rest. We have 2 more sets left. Remember, to keep your balance, we're using our chair. We're standing on our toes, but not completely, all the way up, about on the balls of our feet. Just make sure that we're holding and squeezing our calves at the top to really get that flex. And then we're coming down slow and controlled. We come back standing flat, and then we're just contracting back up at the top. So that's our calf raises. Now we're resting, and then we're going to go into set number 2. Here we go, set number 2 of our calf raises. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're doing 12, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Set number 2. Now we're going to rest. We could remember, since we are extending and flexing our calves, your legs get tired, so make sure to shake them out. You can even sit down while you rest, just so you're not putting all that pressure on your feet, ankles, and calves when you're not working them. But here we go, we're resting now, and then we're going to come back for our final set. Alright, set number 3, our final set of these calf raises. Standing steady, feet underneath us, inside shoulder width, on the balls of our feet, extending, flexing our calves at the top, coming down slow and controlled. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make sure not to lock your knees. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's our calf raises. We finished our 3 sets of 12. Now we're resting. When we come back, and we're going to complete our next exercise, which is going to be a glute extension, and you will need your chair again. Alright, for our next exercise, we're going to be performing a glute extension. So we're going to have our chair. We're going to have a front foot, we're going to have the back foot, and our back foot, our back leg, is the one that's going to be extending. We're extending right here, flexing our glute, and we come back to a staggered stance and extend again. We're leaning on the chair for balance. We have our front leg as our anchor, and our back leg is performing the exercise. We're doing 12 reps, and once we do 12 reps with this first back leg, we're going to make this one our front leg, and this one our back leg, in essence switching legs, and then we're going to perform it with this leg. So for now, I'm starting with my left leg forward, my right leg back. Now we're going to be doing is extending our leg back and flexing our glute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We're switching legs. Remember, when you're extending, you're keeping your legs straight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Back, standing tall. That's our glute extensions. That was our first set of 12. We have a remaining 2 sets. And so for this exercise, we're working on squeezing our glutes, flexing, and then we're keeping our hamstrings extended, but they're still flexing at the same time. They're not making a contraction, but they are flexed. So for our warm-up, we did make sure that our lower body was nice and limber, because these are a lot of blood is rushing into these muscles, and we're prepared, but for now we're resting, and then we're going to go for set number 2. Here we go, set number 2 of our glute extensions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Switching legs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's set number 2. Now we're resting for 90 seconds, and we're going to go into our final set. Alright, here we go for our final set of our glute extensions or kickbacks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Those are our glute extensions or glute kickbacks. Now we're going to rest 90 seconds and we'll move into our next exercise. Our next exercise is going to be hip abductions. So we have our chair, have hand on our chair, and what we're going to do is moving our leg up and lateral to our body, flexing our hip and glute at the top when we bring it back to center. And so all we're doing is working hips, glutes, a bit of hamstring and lower back. But make sure that we have our base, which is our chair, our anchor leg, which is going to be flat on the ground while we're making our movement. And we're going to do 12 each leg. So once we're finished with our first leg, we're going to move chair to the other side to perform with our next leg. So our first leg is my left, and here we go with our hip abductors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We're going to check to the other side. Now the leg we're working with is our anchor leg. We're moving our other leg in our lateral motion. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Those are our hip abductors, focusing on opening up our hips, our hip joints, and our hip flexors. And for now, we're going to take our 90 seconds rest, and then we're going to move into set number 2. Here you go, set number 2 of our hip abductors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Switch sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That concludes our second set. We have one more set. But for now, we're going to take our 90 seconds rest, and then we'll continue with our last and final set. So for our next and final exercise for our power and strength movements, we're going to do sit down and get ups. So we're going to have our chair. What we're going to do is you can help yourself down. We're sitting tall, and then all we're going to do is stand up straight, knees locked at the top, flexing our quads, back straight. We're going to slowly sit back down, settle, Then we're gonna get back up again. Same thing. Sit back down slow, settle, and then get back up again. So we're just focusing on being able to come up out of a sitting position. But for now, all we need is a chair and ourselves. So we're gonna start off seated, so you could just help yourself down with our bars here. We're seated, we're straight up. We're gonna do a set of 10. So we're standing up. 1, seating, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And remember, if you need to, you always need a chair with armrests on it. So if you need to, you could use them to help yourself get up and to help yourself get back down. If you need it, it's just there for balance and just in case. So all you would do is when you're getting up, have your hands on the armrest, slightly push yourself up, but let go as you're standing tall. Then when you get back down, you can have your hands on the rest until you're seated, and then go again. So these are our sit down and get ups. That was our first set. We have 2 more sets, but for now we take our rest. Alright, here we go for set number 2 for our sit down and get ups. Sitting straight, we're sitting straight tall, sitting tall, getting up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Remember to shoot your hips forward. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Second set complete. We're gonna rest and then we'll come back for our final set. Alright, here we are, final set of our sit down and get ups. And we begin. Final set of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That completes our sit down and get ups. That also completes our power and strength exercises, or portion of our exercises. Now we're going to take 90 seconds and then we're going to hop into our next category. So for our next set of exercises, we're going to begin with some cardio. So what we're going to do is knee pull down. So we're starting with our hands straight in the air. We're lifting our knee, and at the same time we're pulling down with our arms, meeting in the middle, and then coming back and going with our next knee. So we're alternating knees, but having our arms up at the same time and coming down every time a knee comes up. So we're gonna go 30 seconds. We're gonna go 3 sets with rest in between. So here we go, 30 seconds, and here we go. 1, 2, 3. Oh. Remember, it doesn't have to be super fast pace, just a nice fluid, consistent motion. If you need to, you could break and reset, but if you don't, continuous motion is key here to get our heart rate a little higher. That's 30 seconds. Now we're going to rest for 60 to 90 seconds, and then we're going to go and begin again. Here we go, round 2 of our cardio. 30 seconds, and we're going. Remember, if you can add a little bounce, speed it up a little, but if not, just step by step. Remember to control your breathing while performing your cardio and any exercise that we do. That's 30 seconds. Now we're going to rest again. Then we'll finish with our last round of cardio before we go into our next pairs of exercise. Here we go for our last set of cardio. Our high knee pull downs. 30 seconds. We're going. That's 30 seconds. That concludes our quick cardio session. Now we're going to rest 90 seconds, and then we're going to go into our next movements. So for our next set of exercises, we're going to be performing core. So for our first core exercise, we're going to be doing Supermans, how they're universally known. So all we're going to be doing is laying flat on the ground on our stomach. We're going to have our arms spread out in front of us, our legs spread out behind us, and all we're going to do is lift our chest, arms, and legs off the ground and hold at the top briefly, and we're going to come down, rest, then we're going to do it again. Hold at the top briefly, come down, rest. We're going to do these for a set of 10, and in all we're going to have 3 sets. So here we go for our first set of Supermans. Remember, flat. Remember, keep your head down, chin tucked, so you're not putting stress on your neck. Palms flat, toes pointed, and then we lift off the ground. 1, rest. 2, rest. 3, rest. 4, rest. 5, rest. 6, rest. 7, rest. 8, rest. 9, rest. 10, rest. We're up. That was our first set of Supermans. Remember, we're working our core strength. We're really, when we're lifting our chest and our limbs off the ground, we're holding tight in our midsection. And remember, don't push out, suck in, and keep everything embraced as we're holding at the top. And then when we come down and everything's back on the ground, you could breathe, relax, and then engage again, and we're stretched at the top again. So that's how we perform our Supermans. But for now, we're resting, and we're gonna come back for set number 2. We're going for set number 2 of our Supermans. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That was set number 2 of Supermans. Now we rest. We're going to come back for set number 3. Okay, our final set of Supermans. Set number 3. Get in our position. And let's begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That completes our Supermans. Now we're going to rest for 90 seconds and then go into our next core movement. For our next exercise, we're going to be performing side bends. So we're standing straight, feet about shoulder width apart, hands to our side. We're just going to be bending at our obliques, coming back to our center, bending opposite way, coming back to our center. That's how we're going to be performing this movement. We're going to be performing 10 reps each side, so a total of 20. We're going to be doing 3 sets of these. So here we go, let's begin. Remember, feet flat, about shoulder width, hands to the side, and we're just bending at the hip laterally, flexing our obliques, squeezing, back to our center. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. This is our side bends. That was set number 1. Remember, when we're bending, you still want the middle of your abdominal region to be tight. Keep it in. And so when we're reaching to our side, we're flexing our oblique. We're bent slightly at our hip laterally, and it's even reaching the outer part of our interior abdominals. And then remember to keep straight up at the top when we're centered, and then we bend on our opposite side. That's how we're performing this movement. That was set number 1. Now let's rest, and then we're going to perform set number 2. Here we go with set number 2 of our side bends. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. That's set number 2 of our side bends. We're going to take a rest. We're going to come back for set number 3. Here you go. Our final set of side bends, set number 3. Our set of total 20 with 10 each side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. That completes this exercise, our side bends. And now we're going to take a 90 seconds rest, and then we're going to move into our next and final movement of our core exercises. So for our final core exercise, we're going to be performing a kneeling plank. And just like a regular plank, we're going to be on the ground. And instead of our knees being off the ground, holding ourselves up like this. Our knees are gonna be on the ground, slightly behind us. We're still gonna be forward on our elbows and holding ourselves up with our core tight and in. And so we're just taking a little bit of stress off of our lower back, and it's more of a modified plank, but it still gets the job done in our core, keeping everything tight, flexed, and secure. So here we go. This one is going to be for time. It's going to be for 30 seconds. So get your timers ready. Let's get down in our plank position. Remember, knees slightly behind us. And we begin. Remember to keep your core tight. Elbows are underneath us. That's 30 seconds. Now we're gonna rest and then come back for set number 2. We're back for our set number 2 of our kneeling planks. 30 seconds on our timers. We're in our plank position. Knees behind us, elbows underneath us. Core sucked in and tight, and we begin. It's 30 seconds. Now we're gonna rest our 90 seconds, and then we're gonna come back and finish our last set of our kneeling planks. We're doing our last and final set of our kneeling planks. 30 seconds on our timer. Legs slightly behind us, elbows underneath us. Holding our core tight, and we begin. 30 seconds. Remember to breathe. That concludes our kneeling planks. It concludes our core portion of these exercises. Let's rest 90 seconds, and then we're going to move on into balance and stability. Now we're going into our balance and stability exercises. And for our first exercise, we're going to be marching in place. So all we're going to do is just like a basic march or a walk. So it would be opposite leg, opposite hand coming up, back to the ground, opposite leg, opposite hand coming up, back to the ground. And we're just going to be marching in place. And we're going to be doing it for time, for 20 seconds. We're going to be performing 3 sets. So here goes set number 1, with marching in place. Remember to focus a little bit of time on a single leg, just a moment, to really work that balance aspect. Using your down hand as an anchor. That's 20 seconds. Now we could rest 30 seconds and then come back and march again. Set number 2 of our marching. Here we go, 20 seconds. We're starting. Remember, you want to stand up tall. It's 20 seconds. Rest another 30 seconds, and we're back for our final round of 3. Here we go, set number 3 of our standing marches for 20 seconds. First exercise of our balance and stability. That's 20 seconds. That concludes our set of marches. So remember, when we're performing our marches, when you put your plant foot on the ground, remember to keep it flat. You don't want to be on your toes. You don't want to be on the balls of your foot. You want to be flat on your foot to really hold you stable as you're standing on that one leg for a short period of time. And then when you're switching and bringing up the other leg, the next leg comes down flat, holds you tight. Remember, you don't have to lock your knee. You could keep a slight bend or just hold at the top, but don't have it all the way cocked back. That's our standing marches. That was our first exercise of balance and stability. Now we're going to rest 90 seconds and then go into our next exercise. Our next balance and stability exercise is going to be single leg stands. We have our chair here to help hold us balance. So how we're going to perform it is, we're going to have opposite leg of the chair is going to be performing our stand with our other leg held up off the ground, hand on our chair. We're going to be holding, and if you're feeling brave or if you're skilled enough, you could hold just with our chair on the side. You don't have to have it next to the chair. And then hold yourself on one leg, and you could break it in increments of 10 seconds because it's going to be a total of 20 seconds for each leg. So if you want, you could do 10 seconds with hand on the chair and then 10 seconds without hand on the chair, and then you're going to switch sides and then switch legs, and you could do the same thing. But for this, we're going to go 20 seconds straight with hand on the chair, single leg stand. So here we go, 20 seconds, we're up. So all you want is your hand on the chair. You don't want to lean on the chair. You want just your hand on the chair just to keep you standing tall and stable. That's 20 seconds. Back on both feet. Now we're going to go to our next leg. Same thing. One leg up, one leg on the ground, hand on the chair for balance, and 20 seconds. About 10 more seconds. That's our single leg stands. Now we're going to rest for 60 seconds, and then we're going to come back and do set number 2. Here we go, set number 2 of our single leg stands. 20 seconds. Legs up. Time started. We got 10 seconds. Switching sides. Next leg. And 20 seconds. Ten seconds more. Now we're going to rest for 60 seconds, and then complete our final set. Alright, here goes our final set of our single leg stance. Hand on chair, leg up, clock starts. Remember to keep your foot flat on the ground. 10 seconds. And we switch sides. Same thing. 20 seconds. Ten seconds. That is us performing our single leg stance. We've completed that. Now we have one more exercise for our balance and stability, but for now we take a 90-second break, and then we'll come back and complete our next exercise. Our next balance and stability exercise is going to be a tandem stance. So all it is having one foot lined up in front of the other foot, heel to toe. We're just going to stand straight like this. We have our chair next to us to help, so you can hold the chair if you need to while you're doing the stance. Not, you just stand straight up, and then you're going to switch feet and do the same thing. We're going to do 10 seconds each foot. We're going to try to perform it without the chair, but we have our chair next to us. So here we go. 20 seconds total. First 10 seconds. Clock started. 5 seconds left for this foot. Now we're switching feet. Starting our clock. 10 seconds. We're complete. That's how you'd perform our tandem stance. For now, we could wait 60 to 90 seconds, rest, and then we're going to come back and do another 20 seconds. Here we go, set number 2 of our tandem stance. Left foot first, right foot back. Here we go. First 10 seconds. Now we're switching. Right foot in front, left foot back. 10 seconds. That's our 20 seconds. That's set number 2. Rest 60 to 90 seconds, and then we come back for our final set. Here we go for our last and final set of our tandem stance. Left foot first, right foot back. 10 seconds. Switch feet. Right foot up, left foot back. That's our 20 seconds. That concludes our tandem stance. It concludes our balance and stability portion of these exercises. Now we're going to take 90 seconds rest, and then we're going to get into our speed and agility exercises. Now we're starting our speed and agility part of these exercises. Our first speed and agility exercise is going to be a simple high knee in a forward motion. So we're going to have a starting point. We're going to have a point to down and back. So we start here. We're going to high knee, get all the way to this end of the grass, and then we're going to high knee back. That's going to complete one set. We're going to do 3 sets of these with 90 seconds rest in between each set. So here goes set number 1. And we're going. Now we're coming back. That's set number 1. So remember, for high knees, what we're doing is we're going in more of a jogging speed. We don't want to go too fast, but all we're focusing on is catching our knee high, lifting at our hip, and then once we make contact with the ground, our other foot and knee is already up in our bent position and crease at the hip. And remember, we're working with hands, so powerful hands, powerful leg drive. Set number 1, now we're going to rest about 90 seconds, and then we're going to come back for set number 2. Here we go, set number 2 of our high knees, down and back. Back. That's set number 2. And remember, this is focusing more on leg drive. So we're going in an upward motion more than we are in an outward motion. So it's just focusing on our rebounding our foot off the ground quickly and powerfully. So remember, I'm in a backyard, so there's a patch of grass that I could go, which is about 12 steps either way. But if you don't have enough room, or if you don't have a backyard, you have an apartment, you could do this in a hallway or in a living room, and you could just move down and back to down, back in a shorter span to get up to at least 12 steps, just so you gain that work and practice that you need to perfect this motion. Now we're resting, then we're going to go into set number 3. All right, here we go, last set of our high knees, down and back. Here we go. Back. That concludes our high knees. Now we're going to take a 90 seconds rest. Then we're going to come back and finish our speed and agility exercises with butt kicks. Now for our next speed and agility exercise, we're going to be performing a butt kick. So opposite of what a high knee was, which is you're bringing your knee up and you're creasing at the hip. Now we're bringing our knee back, heels coming up to our glute, and we're keeping our hips straight. We're not creasing them, we're flexing them. So, but again, this is more of a rebounding your foot off the floor movement. So it's a more up and down movement instead of an outward movement. So it's more reps of feet instead of distance. So here we go. This is we're gonna go down and back. This is how you perform a butt kick. Back. That's a butt kick. So what we're focusing on is really more hamstring power. We're pulling on the hamstrings, bringing our heel up to our glute. So with these two exercises, butt kicks and high knees, we're focusing on the two separate parts of our lower body, which is in running motion. You're going to bring knee drive, and you're going to be needing glute extension when your legs are back and when you're driving forward. So they're just breaking up running form into two separate exercises. So this was butt kicks. We're going to rest 90 seconds, and then we're going to come back for set number 2. Here we go, set number 2 of our butt kicks, down and back.
That's set number 2 of butt kicks. Now 90 seconds rest, and then we have a final set. All right, we're gonna begin with our final butt kicks. Remember, we're going down and back, depending where you are, hallway, living room, anywhere in a home. Just pick a region to go down and back from, and then that's where you can perform this exercise. So here we go, butt kicks, final set. Back. That concludes butt kicks. That also concludes speed and agility. Now we're going to cool down. We're going to take a deep breath. Exhale all the way. Again. Until we catch our breath. Get our breathing back to normal. Get our heart rate down. And now we're going to be performing our stretch. So again, we could use our chair. So our first stretch is going to be our calf stretch. Hands on the chair. We're going to have one leg in front of us with a bend. We're going to have a leg behind us. We're going to keep it locked and straight. We're going to be driving forward with the hips. Now we're doing is pulling and stretching out our calves and the lower heads of our hamstrings. So we're going to go 20 seconds. About 10 more seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're switching legs. And again, driving the hip forward, stretching our calves and hamstrings. About 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're up. Finish stretch. Now we're going to go into our hamstring stretches. We're going to do reach for our toes. Really extending that hamstring. 20. About 10 more seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So breathing, deep breaths. Now we're going to go into our hip stretches. We're going to go knee on the ground. One knee up, one knee on the ground. We're going to take a step forward, and we're going to drive our hip forward and down into the ground, pulling and stretching out that hip. Focus on our breathing. Got 10 more seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Switching legs. Driving that hip forward into the ground. Stretching that hip out. Extending it. About 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pop back up. Now for our quadricep stretch. Hand on chair for balance. Reach for the ankle, grab it, have a bend at our knee, pull back. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Switching legs. Remember pulling that quad back to really get that stretch, starting from the hip, pulling down all the way down to our knee. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's our cool down. We're all stretched out. All of the muscle groups that we used today got stretched, elongated, relaxed, and now we're ready to go on with our day. That finishes this exercise program for today, and I'll talk to you guys next time.